What's up, everybody? I am your host, Joseph from Fiction Ink Flow. Continuing on with our Villains Month exclusives, I want to bring you some of my personal favorite Funko villain pops. All right, so I'm going to start with one of the ones kind of going with what I have on with the Marvel Zombies thing, is a Zombified Mysterio. All right, this is one of my first zombie pops that I got, and if you can see, it's a little bit different than the normal Mysterio. His costume's a little ripped, and his crown or helmet is exposed to see like a zombified brain. This is one of my favorite ones in my collection. All right, so I'll just put that one there. Moving on, I'm going to talk about some classic characters now. So I got a bunch of classic villain pops that I want to bring out for you all. So my first one is another one that's been on the Disney Plus shows, is Loki. All right, there he is, Loki. This is a special exclusive previews magazine pop. So it's Loki throwing up Thor's hammer. How he got it, I won't tell you right now. That's definitely a big spoiler. But you need to check out the Loki series to find out how he was able to hold the hammer. Moving along. A person you may have seen from the Black Widow movie. This is the original Taskmaster. All right, Taskmaster is a character who's able to mimic everyone's powers and abilities, but more so their actions from watching them. So once he sees them, he's able to mimic whatever they can do. Next is a Spider-Man classic. This is the Rhino. All right, the Rhino, a classic Spider-Man villain. Right, he has this rhinoceros kind of like armor suit, allows him to run through anything and everything. He's almost comparable to Juggernaut in that sense from the X-Men, almost unstoppable. All right, we're gonna shift it down and we're gonna keep growing this content as we move. Next, I got a couple of ladies for my classic villain pops. I have Mystique from the X-Men. All right, Mystique is a shapeshifter, known to be able to mimic different people's abilities, as well as just change her form. She can be male, female, a kid, and she uses that to her advantage all the time. She constantly tricks the X-Men when she's fighting against them. Another one from the X-Men, this is Jean Grey in her Dark Phoenix attire. All right, Jean Grey, when she has gone fully Dark Phoenix, as you can see, she has some little lines in her face, her hair is flared, and this is when she's really getting ready to take over everybody. And one more classic lady we have from the X-Men. This is the White Queen, Emma Frost. Now, Emma Frost's original power was to be able to have control over telekinetics, or telekinesis, I should say. She's able to read people's mind and control people's mind. But in the comics, they did something called a second mutation, where a lot of mutants developed new powers. And one of her new powers were to turn her skin into diamond. So she's like unbreakable. And this is the exclusive previews Halloween from 2017, where she has the diamond skin. All right, and I got a deluxe villain pop for you. This one's really exclusive. This came from a Marvel Collector's Corps box, and it's one of my favorite Marvel villains. This is Bullseye. So it's Bullseye and Daredevil fighting. So I love this because they're in this cool battle pose, and anyone who knows anything about Bullseye, Bullseye has pinpoint marksmanship. He's able to take any object and turn it into a weapon. I mean, I had one Bullseye book and I thought it was so cool what he was doing. He was meeting a guy to talk to him about a job that he was gonna do. And as he's doing this, he walks over to his table, grabs some paper clips and a couple of pens, and he walks to the window. And during this whole conversation, he's just flicking these things out the window. And so the guy's talking to him, and they are finished. He's like, "What are you doing?" And say, "Oh, you need to clean up that stuff out there." And then it cuts to the outside of the window, and there are car accidents, people dead, fires, because he's flicked these things out in such a precise way that it's caused all kind of carnage and damage outside. Right. Okay, my next classic character that I have is actually an anti-hero. This person is both good and bad, which is what an anti-hero really is. All right, this classic anti-hero is Deadpool. All right, Deadpool, the Merc with the mouth. He's actually modeled after two main characters in the comic universe. One comes from DC, which is Deathstroke, otherwise known as Slade Wilson. And if you think about it, they even borrowed as a play on the name for Deadpool. His name is Wade Wilson. So they mixed up Deathstroke and Spider-Man, and that's how they came up with Deadpool. So he has the marksmanship like Deathstroke from DC, and he has the jokes and quips like Spider-Man from Marvel. So that's how he was born. He's one of my favorite anti-heroes. All right. The next classic anti-hero, or villain, because he can be good and bad too, is the Collector. This is the Collector from the Marvel What If series. If you see that on Disney Plus, you know that this Collector is different from the ones in the movie. For the ones in the MCU, is kind of like a little kind of eccentric guy. He's always playing around and joking, but he's never displayed any real power. You know, he collects all these objects and creatures and things from around the universe, and he never really showed how he did these things. However, in the What If episode, this Collector was totally different. He used things in his collection, and he was kind of really big and buff, and he went toe-to-toe with T'Challa Star-Lord. Right. That is, once again, the Collector, another Marvel Collector's Core exclusive. All right, next, we're going to get into some alternative characters. So either some mashups or characters that have not usually been seen in the universes that they come from, but they're a little bit different. My first one is Dark Captain Marvel. This is a really cool one. I got this from a Funko Live event, and I was able to secure this before it sold out. So it'd be really hard to find this one. If you notice, this Captain Marvel has a really dark uniform on with this star on her face. The story was pretty interesting, where she was able to go around and she had to fight all the different Avengers. This alien race, because you know Captain Marvel is part Kree. So the Kree people came and they told her, like, look, we want you to kill the Avengers. And she refused, but they gave her this suit that kind of gave her a little control. So it was almost like a symbiote suit, and they were able to watch her while she was fighting. So she went off and fought all these Avengers, and she actually did seem to kill them. However, she put them in an alternative dimension while she came up with a plan on how to rescue them. Check out that story if you really want to know what happened. Next up is Punisher War Machine. This one is a totally overpowered version of the Punisher. So this story arc was such a good one, and you need to definitely pick this up if you're a fan of Punisher. So, you know, Punisher is a person that has no superpowers. He's kind of like the Batman of the Marvelverse, right? So he is commissioned by Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., to recover a stolen War Machine armor that was in some Middle Eastern country. And when he broke in and got it, Nick Fury was like, great, okay, bring it back. He was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep this. Because he was trapped and he couldn't get out. So he puts the armor on, he totally changes it to work for him. And he actually comes back to the US and ends up fighting the Avengers because he wouldn't give up the armor. So another one of my favorite alternative characters. Next is a Walgreens exclusive. This is the Superior Spider-Man. This was a great story arc in the Spider-Man run. What happened is that Spider-Man was fighting with one of his classic villains, Doc Ock, and Doc Ock and Spider-Man were going toe-to-toe, and Doc Ock actually tricked Spider-Man, and they swapped brains. So basically, Doc Ock was dying, and he knew that he was dying, and he said he needed a healthy body to be in. So he came up with this device. He fought Spider-Man and actually switched bodies and brains, and so therefore Spider-Man actually died, and Doc Ock lived on, and he became the Superior Spider-Man. He changed the costume, made it all black and red, added claws so he can have those arms like he did when he was Doc Ock, and he just totally changed Peter's life. I mean, you got to check out the art to see what he did. It was disastrous. Okay. Another classic one for me is coming from another arc. This is the infamous Iron Man. In Civil War II, Iron Man and Captain Marvel got into a battle over Thanos. And so they got into this big scuffle, and unfortunately, Tony was injured so bad that he got put into a coma and eventually died. So there was a void in the Marvel Universe. There was no more Iron Man. But he had uploaded his AI into his suits. So what happened was that Dr. Doom, now trying to redeem himself, decided that, you know, he's going to be Iron Man. So he started using his magic combined with the technology, and he became the infamous Iron Man. And this was a really dark version of Dr. Doom, because Dr. Doom knew where all the villains hung out. He knew what they were doing. So he ended up taking them out so easily because he kind of knew everything about them. And this arc went on for a while. He eventually gave up the suit and came back to his normal evil self. But it's a great arc to check out. All right. Next one is from one of the recent What If episodes. This is Killmonger. Right, if you watch the Disney Plus What If series, you have seen this version of Killmonger where he kind of goes in and he kind of becomes the new Black Panther. He takes over. He saves Tony Stark. Tony Stark works for him to get weapons, and he goes back to Wakanda and kind of takes over and becomes the new Black Panther. Really interesting. Check that one out. All right, we're gonna go with a couple more, and we're almost done. All right, next is Marvel did a whole thing of Pops that have been Venomized, so people that have worn the Venom costume. So in the Marvel Universe, there have been many characters who have used the symbiote. So I got just a few of them here that kind of give a good example of what they look like. So my first one is a Venomized Captain America. Looks pretty creepy and evil, and I love how the Venomized part is on the shield as well. So it's like taking over the whole thing. So once again, think about Captain America, already how strong he is and how powerful, how agile, and his combat tactics applied to this Venom suit. So like this suit can do almost anything and know so much detail. All right. Next is this is a villain that has been Venomized. A classic Spider-Man and Daredevil villain, the Kingpin. So I love this version of him because he just looks very menacing. Now, the Kingpin is another character that doesn't have any superpowers, but he's like a crime boss. So he controls a lot. He knows what goes on with people. He sets things up, and he's very rich. So he also like has his hand in everything from politics to like gun trafficking, everything you can think of. So this is a Venomized version of him, and I love how it's actually on the cane as well. All right. Now, if there was one person or one character you would not want to have the Venom suit, I think it's this person right here. This is a Venomized Hulk. I mean, Hulk is already overpowered. So if you can imagine the Hulk with all this Venomized strength and his energy and his just desire to get stronger as he gets madder, the suit is gonna make him madder all the time. So this is one character I don't even see how you can possibly defeat. Venomized Hulk. All right. Finally, I have one of my favorite villains in this deluxe style Funko Pop. This is a Funko Marvel Collector's Core exclusive. It's called a Pop Ride. This is the character plus the vehicle. All right. So, as you watch my villains video, you know one of my favorite villains is Thanos. So this is Thanos from the Infinity War with his Sanctuary 2, which is his ship. This deluxe pop was an exclusive, came from one of the last big collector core box that came from Marvel. So if you can see, it's Thanos with the gauntlet, all the gems in it, riding in this ship. Now, don't remove this from the box, but it can totally come out. But Thanos is actually removable. He does not have to stay in, he can come out as well. So these have been my favorite villain Funko Pops. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you next time. Peace.